you likely carry images of Japan. Sushi, neon, cherry blossoms, robots, speed. Perhaps even a deep blue night sky straight out of an anime scene. These are not inaccurate, yet they are mere brushstrokes of a portrait far deeper, far more layered than they could ever capture. While those images are not inaccurate, they are but a glimpse. Japan is a place far deeper and more layered than any single picture can capture. And this cinematic 4K travel documentary invites you to peel back those layers, revealing the true essence beneath. Japan is an island archipelago on the western edge of the Pacific Ocean. Stretching nearly 3,000 kilometers from north to south. These islands feel less like a single country and more like many different worlds brought together in one place. In the north, winter completely reshapes daily life across the snow-covered plains of Hokkaido. Far to the south, the turquoise waters of Okinawa shelter coral reefs and a tropical way of life that shares surprisingly little with the rest of the country. They exist beneath the same flag, yet appear to belong to different climate zones. Even the seasons unfold here in their own distinctive way. In a sense, Japan doesn't simply have 4 seasons, it has 6. Beyond the familiar 4 comes Tsuyu, the rainy season of June and July, when everything feels heavy, damp, and suspended in time. The streets carry the scent of moisture, while umbrellas open above the crowds like drifting clouds. Then comes Shokubai, the quiet transition from autumn into winter, when the leaves have begun to fall, but the air has not yet fully turned cold. These 2 hidden seasons reveal something profound about Japan. Even the passage of time follows its own rhythm here. Nearly 70% of Japan is covered by forests and mountains. People live within the remaining 30%, and within that limited space, they have built some of the world's most efficient, organized, and layered cities. More than 100 active volcanoes still lie beneath these islands. Over 1,500 earthquakes are recorded every year. Yet more than 160,000 temples continue to stand across the landscape. Japan is a place that has learned not to conquer nature, but to live alongside it with respect. This country is filled with unusual and beautiful details. There is one island, Okunoshima, where hundreds of wild rabbits roam freely. Another, Aoshima, is home to more cats than people. Even nature itself seems to express something wonderfully unexpected here, adding to Japan's hidden wonders. Japanese cuisine was inscribed on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List in 2013. But long before that recognition, Food here was already something extraordinary. At 4 o'clock in the morning, inside a fish market, tuna is still prepared using techniques passed down through generations. The chef serving a single bowl of ramen may have spent 10 years perfecting that recipe. Even in a traditional tea house, the simple act of boiling water becomes part of a carefully preserved ritual. Japan's writing system reflects the same remarkable complexity. Hiragana, katakana, and kanji. 3 scripts with different origins and different purposes coexist in perfect harmony on the same page. Much like the country itself. Living beyond the age of 100 is far from unusual in Japan. It remains one of the countries with the highest life expectancy in the world, with women living an average of around 87 years and men around 81. What do people attribute this longevity to? Their diet, daily movement, strong community bonds. Perhaps even the enduring spirit of Yui. Living together, sharing life's burdens, and supporting one another. And then there is the emperor, the only reigning monarch in the world who officially bears that title. The Japanese emperor serves as a living bridge between the nation's past and its future. The origins of this institution reach back to a time long before history was recorded in writing. But what does it actually feel like to step inside this country? For someone visiting Japan for the first time, it feels both strangely familiar and completely unfamiliar at the same time. Looking through the window of an airplane, you first see mountains blanketed in forests, untouched by the city. Then, almost unexpectedly, a city appears among those forests. Within that city stands a temple. And in front of that temple, beneath the shadow of a modern shopping mall, stands a wishing tree. This is something you'll encounter again and again throughout Japan. Speed and silence. Crowds and solitude. Concrete and bamboo. The ancient and the modern. What makes Japan so remarkable is that these contrasts never seem to compete with one another. They simply coexist. Neither replaces the other. Together, they create a harmony that defines the country. Perhaps that is Japan's greatest secret, not trying to resolve its contradictions, but learning to live alongside them. Throughout this cinematic travel documentary in 4K, we'll explore that sense of coexistence from north to south. From snow-covered landscapes to coral reefs, from dazzling neon lights to thousand-year-old temples. The journey begins. While many paths lead to Tokyo, our first step into Japan will be different. From its very top, its farthest point, its quietest place, Hokkaido. Starting here is like reading Japan in reverse. First comes silence, then sound. First comes open space, then the crowd. Every destination reveals another layer. Every stop offers a deeper understanding of Japan's unique and captivating identity, making this a journey through one of the world's most remarkable destinations. the white silence of the north. Hokkaido, Japan's second-largest island, lies beyond the Tsugaru Strait in the far north of the country. During winter, temperatures can fall to -40 degrees Celsius. Here, snow doesn't simply fall. It accumulates in deep layers, reshaping the landscape itself. Sapporo is the capital of this island. Throughout much of the winter, life in the city continues beneath the surface. An extensive network of underground passages connects distant districts, allowing people to move across the city without stepping into the snowstorms. Then, in February, everything changes. The Sapporo Snow Festival draws millions of visitors from around the world. Massive snow and ice sculptures rise across the city, some as large as real buildings. Just a few days later, they quietly melt away. Beyond the city, in the heart of Hokkaido, lies a natural world unlike anywhere else in Japan. Brown bears roam the forests, while deer wander across snow-covered roads. Steam rises from the region's famous onsen as the freezing air swirls around them. And Japanese macaques with bright red faces sit peacefully in the warm water, gazing into the distance. The scene feels a little amusing, a little magical, and deeply peaceful. Hokkaido is where you are introduced not to Japan's speed, but to its silence. Archaeological discoveries suggest that people have lived in this area for nearly 7,000 years. Today, however, the village is best known for its remarkable gasho-zukuri houses. Their steep roofs are built at an angle of around 60 degrees, resembling hands pressed together in prayer. In fact, gasho literally means praying hands in Japanese. This design is anything but accidental. Winters in this mountain village are harsh, with snowfall sometimes reaching 3 meters. Over centuries, these roofs were carefully engineered so that heavy snow would slide off instead of accumulating. Not a single nail holds the wooden framework together. Only timber, rope, and a timeless understanding of geometry and craftsmanship. During winter, when the village disappears beneath the snow, families move into the upper floors of their homes. Women traditionally raise silkworms there and spin silk thread, while fires burn on the lower level. The smoke rises slowly through the house, preserving the wood while naturally keeping insects away. When spring arrives, the roofs are renewed. The entire village works together, keeping the spirit of Yui alive here as well. Neighbors repair one another's homes, just as generations before them did. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1995, Shirakawa-go continues to preserve both its timeless architecture and its living traditions. Many of these mountains rise beyond 3,000 meters and remain covered in snow for much of the year. Spruce forests change with the seasons, soft green in spring, copper gold in autumn, and brilliant white throughout winter. Hidden among these forests are ancient Buddhist temples, accessible via pathways lined with centuries-old stone steps. Nagano's most famous residents are the Japanese macaques that inhabit the high mountain valleys. They warm themselves in natural hot springs, sitting quietly in the snow while gazing across the landscape. Over time, they have become one of the region's most iconic symbols. Watching them, it's hard not to recognize something familiar. The universal desire for warmth, escape from the cold, or moments of quiet contemplation. The surrounding villages are also home to traditional wasabi farms. Fed by the crystal-clear, icy waters of mountain streams, these plants have been cultivated using generations-old methods. In winter, the fields lie beneath the snow. In summer, they bloom with fresh greenery and flowers. Nagano feels like the rooftop of Japan, one of the country's highest, quietest, and most tranquil landscapes. The towering bamboo stalks of Arashiyama, some reaching 15 or even 20 meters into the sky, have stood here for centuries. Sunlight filters gently through the towering grove, and as you step inside, the shade grows deeper with every step. The sound of the bamboo has even been included on Japan's official list of soundscapes to preserve. Remarkably, in this country, even the voices of nature are protected. Surrounding the forest are riverside walking paths, traditional boat landings, and centuries-old gardens. The garden of Tenryuji Temple was carefully designed to frame the bamboo forest itself, arranging mountains, trees, and water so that each becomes the backdrop for the next. Can a garden be so carefully designed and still feel completely natural? Here, the answer is yes. It has remained quiet for more than 3 centuries, yet geologists still classify it as an active volcano. In Japanese culture, Mount Fuji is far more than a geographical landmark. It is sacred in the Shinto tradition and has inspired painters, poets, and photographers for centuries. At the foot of the mountain lie 5 lakes: Kawaguchiko, Yamanakako, Saiko, Shojiko, and Motosuko. Each reflects the changing seasons in its own way. In spring, cherry blossoms paint the shorelines pink. In autumn, maple trees transform them into shades of brilliant red. Fuji reveals a different face in every season, sometimes veiled behind clouds, sometimes calm beneath the morning light, sometimes glowing crimson at sunset. At dawn, the still waters of Lake Kawaguchiko perfectly mirror Mount Fuji, creating the mountain's famous reflection. The view is so iconic that it was chosen to appear on Japan's 1,000 yen banknote. Those who climb Mount Fuji often wait at the summit to watch the sunrise. Yet, simply admiring the mountain from afar is an unforgettable experience in itself. No matter where you stand, its unmistakable silhouette has a way of making you feel as though it is quietly watching over you. One of Hakone's most spectacular views unfolds from the ropeway stretching across the valley. Below, steaming volcanic terrain. In the distance, on a clear day, the unmistakable silhouette of Mount Fuji. Few places capture two of Japan's most iconic geological landscapes within a single frame. On Lake Ashi, sightseeing boats modeled after traditional Japanese sailing ships glide across the water. Along the shoreline stands a striking red torii gate that appears to rise directly from the lake itself. The historic Hokkaido Road also passes through Hakone, the ancient route once traveled by samurai on horseback or on foot between Tokyo and Kyoto. Parts of the original black basalt stone pavement still remain today. And walking across them feels like stepping into another era. If you're enjoying this cinematic journey through Japan's hidden wonders and iconic landscapes, now is the perfect moment to subscribe, so you never miss a destination. Yet Japan's natural wonders are far from over. As we continue south, the climate changes, the colors change. Even the scent of the air becomes different, from snowy landscapes to coral reefs, from volcanic craters to subtropical forests. Japan reveals one extraordinary world after another. The island is home to a shrine originally established in 593 and later recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1996. Deer wander freely throughout the island, while the forests of Mount Myson have remained largely unchanged for centuries. Along its mountain trails stand temples that have watched over these forests for more than 1,200 years. When the last ferries depart in the evening, Miyajima returns to its natural silence. Once again, only the sound of gentle waves and the calls of seabirds remain. On land, another side of Japan begins to emerge. Life moves at a different rhythm in the coastal villages. The people here are known for their exceptional longevity, even by Japanese standards. And living beyond 100 years of age is far from uncommon. Traditional diets, daily movement, and strong community bonds remain deeply woven into everyday life. The legacy of the ancient Ryukyu kingdom still stands throughout the islands. Rare wildlife hides within mangrove forests. During traditional festivals, drums echo until dawn, while masked dancers preserve rituals found nowhere else in Japan. Okinawa reveals an entirely different face of the country. Its subtropical climate makes the island an inviting destination throughout the year. But Miyakojima is defined by much more than its beaches. Traditional music vibrant local festivals, and lush subtropical forests all shape its identity. Standing here, you truly begin to understand just how vast the distance is, both geographically and culturally, between northern and southern Japan. Kabira Bay is the island's most iconic destination. White sand meets shallow emerald waters, framed by lush green hills in the distance. Because the bay is home to black pearl cultivation, swimming is prohibited. But walking along the shore and watching the ever-changing colors of the water is an unforgettable experience in itself. During the 17th century, this bay served as one of Okinawa's principal maritime gateways. Mangrove forests stretch deep into the island's interior, where maze-like waterways can be explored by kayak. Beneath the surface, giant manta rays, sea turtles, and brilliantly colored coral reefs complete one of Japan's most extraordinary underwater worlds. Mount Aso sits within one of the world's largest active volcanic calderas. The crater is so vast that entire villages, farmland, and grazing horses exist within its boundaries. From time to time, volcanic gases become strong enough to restrict access to certain areas. Across the surrounding valleys, people have built their homes from volcanic stone and cultivated fields enriched by centuries of volcanic ash. Here, every force of nature has been transformed into something productive. Now, our journey changes direction, from nature to cities, from silence to sound, from landscapes shaped by the earth to places shaped by human hands. In Shinjuku, skyscrapers seem to pierce the sky itself. Just a few kilometers away, the narrow streets of Shimokitazawa reveal vintage record stores, intimate theaters, and quiet lives unfolding inside traditional wooden homes. In Akihabara, neon lights glow above electronics shops like bioluminescence after dark. All of it exists within the same city. At Toyosu Fish Market, the day begins around 4 in the morning. Tuna auctions unfold through subtle hand signals and sometimes nothing more than a brief exchange of eye contact. In Asakusa, Senso-ji Temple stands quietly in the middle of it all. Incense drifts into the sky. The sound of temple bells marks the passing of time. And within a single photograph, modern skyscrapers rise behind the ancient temple. Perhaps no image captures Tokyo more naturally than this. At night, the lights of the city shimmer across Tokyo Bay beneath the Rainbow Bridge. Even at this hour, Tokyo never truly sleeps. It is the world's busiest pedestrian crossing. Every 120 seconds, the traffic lights change, and thousands of people step into the intersection from every direction at exactly the same time. Yet, no one collides with anyone else. This isn't chaos, it's synchronized movement. Viewed from above after dark, the crowds resemble flowing rivers of people, constantly dividing, merging, and moving without pause. In the Minato Mirai district, modern skyscrapers rise from land reclaimed from the sea. Nearby, the historic red brick warehouses along the waterfront recall the era when Japan exported silk to markets across Europe. The most enduring symbol of that era is the Great Buddha, cast in bronze in 1252. Standing 13 meters tall, it has survived earthquakes, tsunamis, and centuries of conflict. While everything around it has changed, it has remained almost untouched. Mountain trails connect the temples to hidden shrines where samurai once stopped to pray before heading into battle. Today, visitors still walk those same paths, climbing the very same stone steps beneath the same ancient trees. Temples gradually emerge from the dense forest. First a roof, then a crimson gate, then intricate golden details. At the heart of it all stands Toshogu Shrine, the resting place of Tokugawa Ieyasu, one of the most powerful shoguns in Japanese history. The architecture is elaborate, richly decorated, and astonishingly detailed. Yet surrounded by towering trees, that grandeur somehow finds perfect balance within nature. Here, 3 famous monkey carvings watch over the shrine. One covers its eyes, another its ears, and the third its mouth. Mizaru, Kikazaru, Iwazaru. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Their message has been carved into wood at this entrance for centuries, remaining exactly where it has always been. When the wind begins to blow, the cedar branches sway gently. The mist shifts, the light changes. And in that quiet moment, Japan reveals itself as a place where nature and spirit have never truly been separated, where the past continues to speak, and where even silence carries meaning. In Nikko, don't try to understand the depth. Simply allow yourself to feel it. Life moves differently in Kyoto. It's not a cliché, it truly does. Footsteps echo across the stone-paved streets. Behind the curtains of traditional tea houses, soft melodies drift into the air. Early in the morning, in the historic district of Gion, a Maiko, an apprentice geisha, walks quietly, gathering the folds of her kimono as she goes, her eyes lowered to the ground. More than 1,600 temples, 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Kyoto is found in the tree-lined path between 2 temples, in the silence between 2 rituals. Koi glide peacefully through the pond, while carefully positioned pine trees frame every view. Every element has been arranged to create a perfect composition from every possible angle. Even the exact viewpoints from which the pavilion should be admired were carefully calculated centuries ago. Each gate has been donated by a business or a family, and everyone bears the name of its benefactor, In Japan, prayer often becomes something tangible. A message carved into stone, engraved into wood, leaving behind a physical expression of hope and gratitude. Todai-ji Temple is home to the world's largest wooden building. Inside sits the Great Buddha, which has remained in the same place for more than 1,200 years. As morning light filters through the massive wooden beams, the expression on the Buddha's face seems to change ever so slightly. At Kasuga Taisha Shrine, more than 3,000 stone and bronze lanterns line the pathways. During festivals, they are all illuminated at once. While the deer quietly wander through their warm glow. The narrow streets surrounding the Dotonbori Canal glow each evening beneath hundreds of restaurant signs. Takoyaki, golden batter filled with tender octopus, is served fresh from street stalls along the waterfront. Every family prepares okonomiyaki according to its own recipe. It's no secret recipe, but somehow, the best version is always the one made by your mother. Standing proudly within the modern skyline, Osaka Castle reflects more than 5 centuries of history. Originally built in 1583 by Toyotomi Hideyoshi, it remains both a symbol of military ambition and of the artistic vision that shaped its era. The flame of peace has burned continuously in Peace Memorial Park since 1964. It is said that it will continue to burn until the last nuclear threat on Earth has disappeared. At the Children's Peace Monument dedicated to Sadako Sasaki, children from around the world continue to send thousands of origami cranes. Sadako's story, a young girl's life balanced between illness and hope, still lives on here. Modern Hiroshima is not weighed down by its past. Instead, it has been rebuilt upon it. Restaurants are full of life, the streets are vibrant, and the city stands as one of the world's most inspiring examples of resilience and renewal. If Hiroshima's story moved you, and if this journey through Japan's most remarkable destinations has meant something to you, subscribe to True Explorations. Every new video is another world waiting to be discovered. Inside, the castle unfolds like a labyrinth. Hidden passages, defensive traps, and secret doors were all designed for protection. Yet today, they inspire admiration for the remarkable engineering behind them. Climbing through its 6 levels feels like reading Japan's military and architectural history, one layer at a time. In the Nagamachi district, former samurai residences continue to stand. Some are still occupied by the descendants of the families who once lived there. Hidden rooms, defensive corridors, and heirlooms passed down through generations offer a rare glimpse into the everyday world of Japan's warrior class. Along the banks of the Miyagawa River, The morning market comes alive with regional produce and traditional handicrafts. The former Hida government office, one of the few surviving administrative buildings from the Edo era, now serves as a museum. In the Sanmachi-Suji district, centuries-old sake breweries are instantly recognizable by their wooden lattice facades, even from the street. The distinctive aroma of fermentation drifts through the air. Far removed from the pace of Japan's great cities, Takayama reveals another side of the country, slower, handcrafted, and beautifully preserved. Throughout this travel documentary in 4K, Japan has continually presented us with contrasts. The white silence of Hokkaido and the 37 million heartbeats of Tokyo. The peaceful green tunnel of Arashiyama and the synchronized flow of Shibuya Crossing. The tropical shallows of Okinawa and the frozen heights of the Japanese Alps in Nagano. Hiroshima's profound history and the vibrant streets of present-day Osaka. And then, after witnessing so many apparent contradictions, a profound realization begins to emerge. You understand that these are not opposites in conflict, but rather two sides of the same coin. In Japan, speed and silence exist together, each giving meaning to the other. Technology and tradition stand side by side because neither replaces the other. They support one another. The Genbaku Dome still stands into the heart of modern Hiroshima because the city has chosen to live with its history rather than turn away from it. This is not a contradiction. It is simply the Japanese way. Perhaps nothing captures that spirit better than the tradition of Yui. Working together, preserving together, living together, a profound tapestry of communal life. Repairing a roof without a single nail and without a single complaint. It is far more than a method of construction. It is a philosophy, tested by time, passed from one generation to the next, and still alive today. In Japan, you learn that silence can be a form of respect. That losing yourself in a crowd can sometimes feel strangely comforting. That even a brief delay deserves an apology. And that the apology is genuinely sincere. And then, in Nara, as deer wander peacefully around you, another realization quietly arrives. There is no sharp boundary between people and nature here. The deer are not living in your park. You are the visitor entering theirs. standing beside a stall at Toyosu before sunrise, watching a master slice tuna with generations of experience, listening to the bamboo whisper in Arashiyama, watching the roof of a temple slowly emerge through the mist in Nikko. In moments like these, Japan tells its story without saying a single word. This journey has come full circle. At the beginning, you thought you already knew Japan. Sushi, neon lights, technology, cherry blossoms. Those images were never wrong. They were simply incomplete. Now perhaps you understand a little more. And with that understanding comes a shift. The simple, iconic images of Japan are now replaced by a tapestry of profound nuance. Beneath the snow of Hokkaido, you now see the warmth of its onsen. Behind the quiet streets of Gion, you feel a ritual refined over centuries. Behind the lively food stalls of Osaka is a family recipe passed from one generation to the next. And in the middle of Tokyo's endless rhythm, the fragrance of incense still rises from an ancient temple. The simple version of Japan you once held has been exchanged for something far more complex and far more true. That exchange is not always comfortable. A richer picture carries more weight, but it is the only honest one. As journeys come to an end, we usually leave something behind, but sometimes the opposite happens. We carry something home without even realizing it. A sound, a beam of light, a single moment that quietly settles into a corner of our memory. Japan is one of those places. When this cinematic 4K journey comes to an end, you won't leave with just one lasting image of Japan. You'll carry many, perhaps the grandest one, the quietest one, or simply the one that stayed with you the longest. Perhaps it's the mist-covered cedar forests of Nikko. Perhaps the snow-covered rooftops of Shirakawa-go. Perhaps the stillness of Kamakura's great Buddha. Or maybe it's simply the sound of the wind moving through the bamboo grove in Arashiyama. Japan doesn't leave a lasting impression only through its grand spectacles. It does so through its smallest moments as well. Our journey ends here. What you carry home is not merely knowledge, but a profound shift in perception. It is the realization that opposites can exist in perfect harmony, that silence can speak volumes, and that the past can perpetually live within the future. This journey has not just shown you Japan, but has subtly reshaped how you see the world. Perhaps that is what every truly meaningful journey imparts. When we return home, we possess the remarkable ability to see the world, and even ourselves, through entirely new eyes. But Japan's story never truly does end, because this remarkable destination reveals something new with every visit. The first time, you notice its grandeur. The second, its quiet beauty. And perhaps on the third, you begin to discover something about yourself. If this cinematic travel documentary has left you with just one lasting impression of Japan, let it be this: there is still something waiting for you there. Something you have not yet seen, heard, or felt. And it is worth the journey. Keep exploring Japan.